Okay, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, followers of the channel? Another Conscious Approach video getting ready to kick off. My name is JV Wins. That's Dogon SS on this beautiful January the 17th, 2023. Before we get things kicked off, as I always like to say, if you happen upon this video but you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you appreciate this video, if you like the commentary in this video, go ahead and hit that like button, man. Wherever you're watching this video, if you're watching the live stream or if you're watching the shorter form video upload, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button as we continue to be onward moving with the content on the Conscious Approach channel. We love producing logical content. So, as always, we appreciate everyone who supports it and everyone who's along for the ride, man. Go ahead and leave those comments. Let us know what you think about our commentary. Let us know what you think about the subject matter in general. We do pay attention to comments, unless they are of the trolling variety. We do ignore those. But if they are comments of substance, we do pay attention. So just wanted to put that little disclaimer out there, as I like to do before we kick things off in every video. Now, with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started, man. We have another clip from the Whatever Pod. The Whatever Pod, that seems to be a good pod, man. They produce good, sensible relationship talk. And in this particular clip, they are discussing why. Well, specifically, this is about why women who like to go out without their partners on a regular basis and do the clubbing and the bar and all of that other stuff, why men perceive that to be red flags. But I feel like that should be I feel like that's also a general thing. Like I feel like women whose boyfriends or husbands, if it gets far enough where it is a marriage type situation, like to go out often, with the woman not present. That should also be a red flag on behalf of the guy as well. So I think this is a situation that goes both ways. But within the context of this particular clip, it was about why it is a red flag when it's women who like to do this kind of stuff. So, um, you know, shocker, I tend to agree that it is a red flag. But hey, don't take my word for it. We'll go ahead and play this, short, abbreviated version of the longer conversation from the Whatever Pod on why that is a red flag, and then we'll discuss afterwards.
If she's going out, it's a deal breaker for me.
Huge red flag. Same
That
for
for me, it's
Yeah,
a deal
I
breaker.
totally agree.
Why
she
is that
can't-
a deal breaker? Is it because it makes you insecure?
It has nothing to do with insecurity. It's
What
just
is it?
this is a dream world hypothetical scenario. Girls really don't be hitting up guys like this. Would you be okay with your long-term monogamous partner going to a nightclub, bar, or party type environment where throughout the course of the night he's going to get approached, flirted with, and sexually pursued by numerous attractive women, some of which are more attractive than you and could potentially be a better partner than you, and these women are buying him drinks, getting him drunk, and enthusiastically want to sleep with him that night and steal him away from you? You're going to tell me you'd be okay with that?
No,
No.
not with that. Definitely no.
So you can see how this can be a little contradictory because none of you would be okay with it, right? But then you say guys should be okay with girls going out all the time.
we were receiving criticism for saying like it's a deal breaker if a girl's regularly going to clubs without
Yes.
us. That
So-
situation that he just described that you guys wouldn't be okay with happening
Mhm.
to your boyfriend, that
It's women.
happens to women
All
all
the
the
Think about
time,
it. Woman
which
getting
is
hit on.
why we're saying we're not okay with our long-term partners putting themselves in situations
Yeah,
like
and that's
that.
All right, get out of here, Ad.
Yeah, you need those ads, bro.
So one of our favorite code words popped up in there, right? Insecure. The girl was like, "Well, isn't that a sign of you being insecure if you can't handle us going out like that?" And I think the guys sensibly explained why it's not a matter of insecurity, but it's just human nature in terms of what a person's relative level of comfort is with an individual whom they are supposed to be responsible for trusting. So I guess I'll leave that there. But clearly, these are red flags, right? So why are there people or women who don't understand why such a thing would be a red flag?
Um, I mean, I don't know. And I think what's really going on is everybody's just lying to themselves. They're lying to the next person, and they're expecting everybody to believe it. And the truth of the matter is that clubs, and I've said this before, that clubs and bars were before Tinder and Bumble and all of these dating apps. Clubs and bars were dating apps. So people literally went there to hook up. And it was hookup culture before hookup culture was named hookup culture. So clubs and bars, that's where people go to get validation at. And males and females. Guys want to add extra notches to their belt, and women want to get a new experience from a new man. And whenever they're seeking those validations, they're going to continue to go out and do those things, even though they're in a committed relationship. And who knows what goes on in those things? Leave it to a woman, right? She's going to say that she was having a good time, everything was innocent, they was petting kittens and all kinds of stuff. And so you'll never think anything went wrong, and you'll never know. And so it's best to just err on the side of not letting them go. But if she wants to go, well, then she belongs to the streets. And it's that's cut and dry. And when the only ones that get that defensive are the slores in disguise. Because a real woman will go, yeah, okay, I don't need to go to club or bars. I hardly win anyway. So, but the ones that's hell bent, that need to go on these trips, that need to go on this, just need to get away from the house. Why are you running away from the house? And so for those types of individuals, don't give them refuge. Don't allow them in your home. Don't let them get too close to you, because they don't want to get close to anybody. And it shows by their activities of always wanting to be with their single friends or their friends that are in relationships but can't seem to stay in town. They always got to leave. So how about you, bro? How do you feel about this whole dynamic? You feel like clubs and bars are overblown? Or do you feel or do you feel like, hey, man, maybe this guy's got a point here?
Yeah, it really is a matter of just not getting with people like this, period. So, and I think that that's the point. Well, at least to me. So, like when they say, "Oh, you notice that your girl likes to do this kind of stuff," that's a red flag. Okay, that's fine. But me personally, I say that before I even get with a girl, a woman, whatever, and I know that she's the type that likes to do this, I've already identified the red flag. So I know that I'm not going to engage with anything. I'm not going to engage in anything with her beyond anything surface level or physical. I'm going to maintain those baseline level of expectations. So like this is one of those things where it's like, don't get with people like this. Um, so question for you.
Mhm.
Do you think that perceptibility is something that people inherently can do, or do you think that it's a skill that one has to develop?
It's a skill.
Yeah,
And,
I agree. I think
and
I
it,
think
no, go ahead, go ahead.
no, yeah, I agree. I think it's a skill as well. And the reason why I asked that question is because any person who thinks, well, let's just stick to the how let's just stick to how this is let's stick to how this is traditionally presented. This is traditionally presented as, guys, you shouldn't be insecure if your girl likes to go out without you. Don't be an insecure man. Be confident in what you got going on, and know that you can hold it down. If I like to go out, don't be insecure. I just like to go out, right? That's how it's traditionally presented, this idea of going out versus not going out within the confines or within the context of a relationship. Like women who think like that who think that it's a reflection upon you if you can't handle me going out. I feel like these are women who lack in perception skills, who lack the ability to be perceptive in any kind of way. Like people who can't be perceptive, people who lack those skills, don't understand that there is an entire reality that others live that is different than the reality that they live. So like when those guys are talking about, okay, would you be able to handle it if I'm going out every night and I've got women, some of whom would be better partners to me, some of whom are more attractive than you, coming up to me because they want to have sex with me and they're trying to get me drunk because they want to get something out of me and because they want to do that. If you know that I'm putting myself in that environment without you on a regular basis, logically speaking, how would that make you feel? And to their credit, the women on the pod were like, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. But there's a lot of women who don't put themselves in a man's shoes because they fail to understand that they live a reality that is unique unto the reality of what a woman lives, and men don't live that reality. For the most part, a man will never know what it's like to go out to any kind of social place and get approached by attractive women, some women who look better than the women that they're with, some women who may make better partners than the women that they have, and those women just want to have sex with them. And they're getting approached by women like this all the time, getting offered free libations from these types of women all night long. At some point, human nature kicks in, and maybe that guy indulges on some of those opportunities. Now, for you to be freaked out by the prospect of that doesn't make you an insecure woman. It just kind of makes you a human being. But if you lack the ability to be perceptive enough to understand that you can feel like you can play that insecure card because you live your reality and you don't understand that men, for the most part, don't live your reality, then that in and of itself makes you an individual to whom a guy shouldn't even be getting with, or at the very least taken seriously. So, when I take red flags away from this, it ain't even really about noticing this after you done already got with the person. In all likelihood, you've probably seen that this is a person who likes to go out. Hell, there's probably a good chance that you yourself met her out at the club or the bar or whatever. So that should already let you know right away. Probably not a good idea to invest any of my emotional, hell, fiscal energy as well into a situation like this because number one, this is where she came from. So this is probably where she's going to reside long after she's dealt with you. And number two, people like this lack the ability to be perceptive enough to understand that their reality is not the same as yours. So it's very convenient for them to accuse you of being insecure because you're not comfortable with their lifestyle when you'll never be able to play that same card because men and women simply live different realities. And a lot of women oftentimes fail to take into account the fact that men and women live different realities. And they approach this type of thought process from the prism of, I only am concerned with, or I can only consider my reality. And it doesn't matter what your reality is because I run this and I rule the world and girls rule the world, whatever they think, right? But at the end of the day, it's convenient enough for them to use these cards and make men and guilt men into relinquishing their principles, bend the knee to them. When the truth is, just don't get with these women in the first place because they are not empathetic and perceptive enough to understand why that isn't insecure, but rather it's just a very human thing to feel. And in and of itself, when women play these kind of cards or when they live these kinds of lifestyles, it is very much so an indication of a red flag. You just shouldn't get involved with them.
Well, if you met her in the streets, she keep her in the streets.
Leave her there. Yeah.
Yeah, you just leave her in the streets. Don't bring it home. Don't bring the foolishness home. And then the ones that you do vet out and the ones that you feel like you can bring home, those are the ones that you ask certain questions to see what their intent and their goal is for this relationship. And if their intent and their goal is all the stuff that we've been talking about recently with all of this hypergamous weird energy going on, than if it's that and you're just some type of stepping stone or some what you call that springboard to help them get to get to the next stage or the next lifestyle. I'm not for that. I don't think you guys should sign up for that foolishness. And yeah, man, just leave them in the streets. Same thing for ladies. And if you met a dude and he's a street dude, you know, and you know it ain't nothing going on with that, why get wrapped up in it? Why take that home? So it's a lot of stuff out here where people just need to stop, like I said, lying, man. Like it's a lie and everybody knows it. And it's just, it's like it's literally written all over their shirt. They're going out in public. I'm a whore. I'm a whore.
Yeah.
And then when you ask them questions about their lifestyles, they get super defensive. Oh, you're insecure. You're, you know, all of these things. They get real animated, sometimes loud, because you're blowing their hoe cover. And the only one that believes it is them at this point. The empirical data has been left out there, charted, and now people are sharing it amongst the internet. And now I've gotten years of information that I didn't have to live, because there's so many other people out there that live similar stories to mine, but with different nuances. But it's all still stemming from the same type of behavior and thought process. And so it all boils down to, like I said earlier, if they have a street mentality, then leave them there. God forbid you met a girl at the bar. Oh, yeah, but she's different. Why is she different? Oh, this was her friend's whatever, and she never goes out. And you fell for that. That's your fault, bro. And so she's at the bar slamming drinks back because it's some celebration with her friends, or twerking on each other, or doing whatever, or playing coy, sitting in the corner, not even saying nothing. Take your pick. They're all thought, "Oh, Mario, you're being crazy." I'm not. I'm not being crazy. I'm not being exaggerative. I know girls who go to bars all the time. Well, I used to. You know, I would see them often there. Those girls were living that life. I was living it. They were living it too. And then there were girls that never went. That doesn't make them not a whore. It just slims down the odds. But the fact remains is, as you said, man, you know, vet them out and don't even bother. Don't even waste your time with this type of energy, this behavior, this thought process. This is male or female. And if he always got to be out, you know, with his boys, and, you know, he's randomly at strip clubs. Oh, well, you know, blah, blah, you know, I went with him a couple times, and yeah, he's trying to break you in, trying to get you used to this behavior. That's not normal. It's a lot of stuff, bro, that's gotten normalized over these years through weird socialization, bro. And honestly, it's social engineering. And a lot of the goofy stuff comes from MTV culture when we were growing up, and those people actually living it out, spring breaking and getting wild, getting crazy, getting loose. Why have a kid? Why have a family? This is going to slow me down. I need to go out here and keep balling and partying. And then everybody got caught up in the lifestyle. And so those people grew up, they had kids. These people now growing up, seeing older generation of people partying, they want to go party, have fun, have a whole phase. You don't turn it off, ma'am. It doesn't stop. It keeps going. That itch is going to have to get scratched one day. And then so it's like, oh, okay, well, I scratched it one time. Well, that one time's enough. If you claim that you've reformed, you haven't. Let's cut it. So let's just stop the lies. Fellas, stop buying into this crap. It's garbage. And they can yell until the cows come home till they red or purple in the face. don't go for it. It's not worth your time or your energy. Just know what they are, and just call them what they is. And so
Yeah.
any woman that wants to fight tooth and nail about going out, it can be open in conversations. You didn't meet her out, but somehow, some way, y'all get out. Y'all get on the topic of going out, and she's always talking about this and that, and mimosas, and day drinking. Yeah, day drinking, mimosas, brunch. What is this brunch phenomenon? Oh, everything. What's brunch, bro? Like, it's an excuse to drink early. That's what it is. Winos. So, so we just gotta call spades, man. And we gotta move on with life, man. And so these girls right here in Delusionalville, and they're gonna sit there and defend their thoughtisms. But just because they're all sitting there looking like they're not on the OnlyFans page doesn't mean they don't bust it wide open like OnlyFans girls. So yeah, man, leave them alone. Leave them in the
Yeah. Yeah, you got to leave them there. You got to see, yeah, that's the thing, man. One of the overarching themes of this channel is trying to impress upon men the importance of understanding how to not be a slave to vagina. And it's like, modern men have become so bitch made, and they have been conditioned to believe that they're supposed to bend the knee and relinquish all of their principles upon the whims of any woman who will give them any kind of attention, especially if she's attractive enough, that they don't even know what it means to be able to have the strength to notice certain forms of behavior that are undesirable, and to, despite how much you might want to get with this chick, understand that in the long run it will best benefit you to not engage yourself in this situation, because it's going to do you more harm than good. And like, last week we talked about the woman who they had on this very same platform, the whatever pod, who talked about how she on purpose emotionally abuses men because she likes to humble them. And I said in that video, like, women like this are walking sociopaths, and they bring their sociopathic tendencies into every interaction with a man that they have, because of, they're so scarred and damaged by their own poor choices in men and relationships, that they bring that baggage into every situation that they're in, and decide that they're going to extract every resource that they can from a guy before they move on, emotionally abusing him in the process on purpose. In the case of that chick, she did it so that she can humble guys, because she just gets off on that stuff. And I said, like, don't get so seduced by chicks like this because of how they look, that you get with them and then try to preoccupy yourself with convincing them somehow to not be a sociopath. That's not the point. The point is, stay away from them. Stay away from the sociopaths. And it's the same thing with, women who like to do all of this kind of stuff. Like, don't get into any kind of, situationship, relationship, whatever we want to call it. Don't get with them and then try to convince them that going out ain't the move. Like, stop wasting your time with that. Rather, if you're having a conversation with her preliminarily and she's talking about how she likes to go out and how she likes to go to every music festival, she don't miss a single year of Coachella. She don't miss a single year of Bonnaroo. She don't miss a single year of South by Southwest. She all over the place. She goes every year. You know what I'm saying? She don't miss a single. if All-Star Weekend or Super Bowl week is in a city that's near her, she's there. These are things that you don't have to get into it with them to know that this is what they're about. And it's a waste of your time and energy to convince them not to do it. Don't do it. This is who they are. Just don't get with them in the first place. Because if you get with them and then you're dealing with this, that's on you, bro. That's egg on your face. So, like, you have no one to blame but yourself if that's the predicament that you find yourself in. Just notice these things on the outset and avoid it entirely. There's far too many women in the world who don't live by this code, who look just as good as the next chick who is toxic like this. And you can just get with the more balanced female and stay away from the ones who feel like they need to be on the scene all the time. Like, I feel like there's a correlation between women who like to go out like this. You know, it's not about the going out in a vacuum. It's about the need to go out without the man around or without the husband in such frequency. And there's a correlation between, you know, chicks who like to do this and the types of chicks who will, you know, have a propensity for replacing you if they feel as though there's the opportunity to upgrade to the next guy who can, you know, enhance her lifestyle. The same type. These are the same women. You know, it goes hand in hand. You know, the women who will go out all the time and hit the clubs, the bars, the parties, you know, the mansion parties, the parties where you have to sign an NDA and submit your phone before you even walk through the door, right? That type of stuff. The women who like to do stuff like this are the same types of women who will, you know, dispose you like, you know, yesterday's news. They will dispose of you like trash. If another guy can upgrade in, you know, if they see that they can get an upgrade in terms of lifestyle from another guy, and they'll replace you with that guy. You know, it all goes hand in hand. It's all a correlation. It's the same women who do this stuff, and your spider senses as a man will tingle when it becomes apparent to you that this is something that you could potentially be dealing with. Listen to it and just turn your back and go the opposite direction. You'll be the better man for it.
You remember like in the 90s or yeah, it's like 90s or whatever. I'm hearing like female comedians or, you know, just people in general. You know, they was always hollering about how men cheat and blah, 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 blah. But if a woman cheat, you would never know about it. And if you think your woman never did nothing, you got another thing coming kind of thing. And now that I've gotten older and I've been on the scene and in the market, one thing that I have realized is, well, there's a lot of women out here who exercise their opportunities. And I've said this before. You know, this is a term I'm going to be using around here, and it's called a black card, right? And a black card, a woman's vagina is a black card. She can go swipe that damn near anywhere. It's getting accepted, all right? And if the right opportunity presents itself, if she swipes, she can get, you know, sex from a man. So if there's a woman walking around constantly with basically an infinite amount of money in their pockets, why not buy whatever man of whatever night that they want? Men have to solicit prostitution because getting vagina is not easy, even though it's easy. It's not easy for a woman. I don't care how she looks. You know what I'm saying? If she spreads her legs on 27th Avenue, you know, there's gonna be people who pass, and there's gonna be people who take it up. And so she's gonna get whatever, you know, she's gonna get played just because she has a vagina. So women, instead of, you know, soliciting escorts and stuff like that, because they don't have to do it, they just go to clubs and bars. They just get a one-night stand. They just do something. They just call something in. They didn't have to pay for it, or did they? So because men and women are opposite, men physically pay for sex, you know, financial money. Women being the opposite, they pay the other way. So they pay spiritually and internally. And that's why they walk around with so much baggage, so much, you know, imagination when it comes to Frankenstein man or Mystery Man or all this other extra stuff, because they've been exposed to too much. Their value goes down. A man's value goes up. It's opposite. So if I remember back in the days, man, where, you know, I ain't had none yet, but I'm trying to get me some. Man, my hands is everywhere, you know, and I'm trying to make something work, but I don't know how to make things work. I never did this before. So when I was dealing with those girls, it was a situation where they're looking and feeling like, I want somebody that knows what they're doing in here. Basically saying, I want a man in here who has sex with women enough so that when he comes to please me, he knows how to please me. Men are the opposite. So we have to really sit here and ask ourselves, when we're dealing with these types of people who want to live this type of lifestyle, that's what I'm saying. This rabbit hole goes so far in their minds that it's like you said, it's not even worth the time or energy to try to convince them to not be in that character, to not be in that boat. They're too far gone. And so they're going to sit there and live that lifestyle. So, good discussion here, man. I just tell everybody, man, I had to learn the hard way, bro. I had to learn the hard way through trial and error, and to figuring out, all of this window dressing that they would serve, all of these tales they would tell, and I'm sitting here believing it because we're all individuals and everybody deserves a fair shot, and that's BS. So, great stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just think as a man, and I'll say, to men everywhere, do not be afraid to be principled, even when it comes to women. I think the world has made men bitch made, and it has pigeonholed a lot of men, not all, but a lot of men, into a predicament in which they have to decide whether to be principled or whether to be more successful with women. And at first, this was a small ancillary aspect of society, but it's definitely grown to a point where it's, I think, the mainstream. I think that it's the majority of situations. I think the majority of men find themselves having to decide whether to be principled or whether to be more successful with women. And for a guy, being more successful with women means having access to sex. That's what that means. For women, it means other things, but for guys, it means just being able to have a bite at the apple. How many opportunities for sex do you have? And you have to either be principled or choose the women. And most guys nowadays choose the women. And the thing is, the more men we have doing this, then the more normalized it will be for men to believe that being principled isn't important, but rather it's just about getting pussy. So, and those guys who feel like that, which they are, it's becoming more and more in abundance these days. Those are the ones who will believe a woman when she accuses him of being insecure because she likes to go out to the club all the time without you. Um, and for real. And those are the guys who need to be given the biggest talking to, because
Yeah.
as I've said, or as I've said before, and as I will continue to say, because I truly believe it, all of these types of dynamics will get corrected not by convincing women of the error of their ways, but by making men understand how to actually be men. And there's just not enough of those. So when you feel as though being principled isn't important and that it's all about just getting pussy, then there's just going to be chicks who can run roughshod and say, "Well, you're insecure because I like to go out to the club without you." So um, it is what it is. Definitely a good discussion. The whatever pod is cool, and if you notice she likes to go out to the club all the time and she doesn't particularly want you there because that's just the thing that she likes to do, or she's always trying to be out on the scene at these various parties and events. She lives that wannabe socialite lifestyle. Don't convince her that she should do what you like to do or be on your wavelength. Just find a girl who's already on your wavelength. Stop
Yeah.
wasting time.
And one more thing to that. And even the one-offs, if she's running away, and I think hopefully you feel what I'm saying with that. So once in a while, here or there, drinks with her friends, I don't care. I'm talking about when they want to travel by themselves.
And I think that's what they're talking about. I think this particular discussion was about that. It's
Yeah,
about the whole girls trip, girls power, Essence Fest. No, you ain't going. We just going with the girls. We going to Essence Fest or
none of
whatever it
that.
is.
None of
Yeah,
that. None of
yeah,
that. None of that.
yeah.
I,
And the
and
thing about it is, why would you want to? That's the thing. See, it's like as a woman, you shouldn't want to do any of these things without your guy. You shouldn't want intrinsically, if you really are about that stable thing and you want to be in something that's stable and that you respect this guy and you actually want to do the, I won't, for lack of a better word, you want to do the love thing. Like, you shouldn't want to do that kind of stuff without your dude. You shouldn't want to. So the fact that you would even want to do these things without him on a regular basis speaks to some internal problem.
Yep. Hey, honey, I want to get some validation from other men. Be back in 5 days. You cool with that, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, well, her friends are married, so I figured it was cool. Boy, you a damn fool.
Yeah.
That's what you are. You think those girls, that we went to college with stop towing, bro? Man, one quick story. As a cab driver, I'm picking up college students, FSU students. And these girls is in here. Not all of them belong to sororities and stuff, but the chatter going on, the amount of whole stories that they were just throwing back and forth. Who they gonna throw it at? This, and that. Oh, girl, you did what? Oh, you crazy, blah, blah, blah. And, those girls were, leaving the market, the college market and hitting the real world. You think they're going to stop that behavior when they're just hopping from bar to bar, making out with guy to guy? I mean, it was the wildest stuff I was seeing out there. But hey, man, believe it if you want. But I'm telling you guys right now, stop buying the lies. They're lying. And when they get really defensive like that, when they just curl up and they want to throw 4-letter words at you, like insecure and all these other buzzwords, then at that point, bro, she told you she's a spade. So, yeah.
Yep.
Address it.
Yep. A spade will always be a spade, man. Stay away from them. It is what it is, But cool, good content. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
Shouts out to the Whatever Pod. Link in the description of this video. Just like always.